If you're a maintenance supervisor for a commercial property, you've had to deal with everything from leaky faucets to flickering light bulbs. But nothing's worse than that ancient boiler that's lived in the building since the day it was built, 50 years ago. It's enough to make anyone lose their cool. That's where Grainger comes in. With industrial-grade products and dependable fast delivery, Grainger can help with any challenge, from worn-out components to everyday necessities. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
It's the Opperman Report. Join digital forensic investigator and PI Ed Opperman for an in-depth discussion of conspiracy theories, strategy of New World Order resistance, high-profile court cases in the news, and interviews with expert guests and authors on these topics and more. It's the Opperman Report. And now, here is investigator Ed Opperman.
Okay, welcome to the Opperman Report. Oh boy, computer's freezing up here. Okay, welcome to the Opperman Report. I am your host, private investigator Ed Opperman, and this show is brought to you by Phoebe Saad's Cocoa website, pscocoa.com. Phoebe Saad is an independent curator with the Cocoa Exchange. The Cocoa Exchange is formerly known as Dove Chocolate Discoveries. Dove chocolates are probably the best chocolates out there. They make the finest, silky, smooth chocolates because the products start with the best cocoa beans, which are tested for quality and flavor by expert Mars technicians. The Cocoa Exchange offers not just premium chocolates, not just the best chocolates out there, but anything from sauces, spices, to brownie and cake mixes, and even coffee and martini mixes. If you wish to treat yourself to or someone you love to a sweet and tasty gift, then the Cocoa Exchange is the brand for you. Go to pscocoa.com. That's pscocoa.com, pscocoa.com, and you click on the Shop Now button. It takes you to this beautiful website, and you can even sign up to go into the cocoa business. You can become a chocolatier just like Phoebe Saad and sell that chocolate. Make some money. Make some big bucks in the chocolate biz. Bigger than Mars. Okay. Don't forget, emailrevealer.com. That's my website, emailrevealer.com. Get a copy of my book, How to Become a Successful Private Investigator. You can also catch your spouse cheating online, your boyfriend, your girlfriend. You give us their email address. We trace it back to online dating websites, and we catch them in the act. Cheating online. We trace it back to online dating websites. You got their picture on there. Caught. Cheating online. All kinds of cell phone forensics. You think your husband, your wife is cheating on you. You send us their cell phone. We recover the deleted text messages. Caught. All kinds of stuff. We catch them every time. Okay. Right. Tomorrow, 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, we have another West Memphis 3 show. We have Gary Meese, who is a local reporter from West Memphis, Arkansas, and also I just wrote a book. Book just came out this week. I think we're the first interview he's doing. Some new stuff in the book. He contacted and interviewed Dominique Tier. So that's some new stuff. I'm looking forward to that. Tomorrow, 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, Gary Meese. We're going to be talking about the West Memphis 3 murders and that jerk, Damian Eccles, and Jason Baldwin, and Jesse Miskelly. The week after that, see, I had a little scheduling mix-up. I kind of messed up. And I thought this week was going to be Dr. Michelle Stevens, the woman who was just on Dr. Phil. But she's going to be on the week after. I thought it was tomorrow, but it's going to be next week. And she was on that show about, oh my gosh, she had some life when she was like 8 years old. Her mother met some guy. And the guy says, hey, let me take her to my house for the weekend. And she says, okay. And he puts the little girl in a cage and then rapes her, molests her for like years after that. Crazy, 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 horrible story. We just did a show tonight. If you're listening live tonight on 3/31/2017, tomorrow's April Fool's Day. And we just did a story about, we just did a show, 2-hour show, about John S. Captain and the murder of Tiffany Jenks. And in the first 2 hours, we cover the murder of Tiffany Jenks and the relationship between John and Tiffany and all that kind of stuff from John's perspective. I taped another 2 hours after this and spent many, many hours listening to these tape recordings and talking to the guests and stuff like that, and listening to some of the other interviews. And I think I'm up to speed on this situation here. I taped one more hour with John S. Captain, and the focus of that interview is the mind control. John's mind control theory, that the motive behind this murder was mind control. And we spent a good long hour on that, okay, and it gets a little testy at the end, and a little tense between me and John. So that show will be, I think it's in the member section right now, tonight. If it's not, it's in the member section. It will be this week, and it will probably play live next week. I got some other good content there. This woman, Amy, what's her name? Amy Alefantis, something like that. Oh, my God, this local woman. It's the most heartbreaking story you're ever going to hear in your life. It's up in the member section, but I have to play it live, too, before an event here in April. Oh, my God. It's a gut-wrenching interview where I was crying. She was crying hysterically because she lost her daughter at a hospital here. The hospital didn't want to treat her daughter because they didn't have the right insurance. So they took an x-ray and they sent her on her way, and she died from a blood clot in her leg. And this woman, Amy, let me look up the name. Amy Alefantis, I think it is. She poured her heart out on our show. And now she's an advocate for universal health care. It's a beautiful show, and it's going to play live, for free. But for now, I got it in the member section. You can go in there and pick it up because I just wanted to get it out there as quickly as I could. And I wanted to get the full attention that it can. Come on, where are we here? You can look up this. Oh, God, her daughter's name was Shalyn. Amy Villela, Vilela. And you can look up her story online. It's heartbreaking. So that's coming up, too. That's in the member section as well. Now, in the member section, besides the next section that I did with John S. Captain about his mind control theory, as you might have noticed in this show, he mentions a man named Rick Lovett, who lived with Tiffany as well. Tiffany, and he talked about how Tiffany lived in his spare room and he was sleeping on the floor. So I contacted Rick Lovett to see if we can get his side of the story. Wasn't hard to find. In fact, I spent 5 minutes finding this guy. One of the first questions I asked him was, "Hey, Rick, has anybody else contacted you? Any other hosts or radio producers or anybody? Has anybody contacted you for your side of these events?" And nope, you're the first one. So we got Rick on the line. He's a law professor. He's a journalist, an author. And you're going to hear his side of the story. Now, what I did was, right before I was going to interview Rick Lovett, what I did was I sent him over a copy of the recording so he could hear what was being said about himself. And he could hear what he was being accused of. He was a handler, And so I sent him these tapes, and, we were going back and forth. He's hard to get a hold of. He's 63 years old. He was a little hard to get a hold of, and I was busy. I got very, very busy this week. I got a lot of work I'm doing. And I listened to all these tapes and stuff like that. Booking all these shows. I got great shows coming up, a bunch of great, great content coming up. So I sent Rick the shows. And as I called him up, what do you call it? He was listening to the shows in the background. Now, there is something in the law when you have a witness in court. Everybody's heard of the hearsay exclusion. Hearsay. Your Honor, that's hearsay. Objection. Hearsay. Objection overruled. Right? Or, what's the other one? Objection overruled? What's the other one? Objection, okay. Anyway, a lot of times you'll be watching these court TV shows like Judge Judy and stuff like that, or Judge Mathis and these crazy TV court shows. And one of the litigants will say, and he's been cheating with every girl in town. He's sleeping with every woman in this town. Everybody knows it. And the guy say, objection, that's hearsay, Your Honor. Okay? What hearsay means is I can't go to the witness stand and say, I want to testify about what I heard someone say. I heard them say, and I want to testify. I want to tell you what I heard them say. That's hearsay testimony, and it's not allowed. I can't tell you what I heard somebody else say. Okay? Except there's an exception to the hearsay rule, the hearsay exclusion. And that is the excited utterance or the spontaneous utterance. What the excited utterance is, or the spontaneous utterance is that if something's going on, you and me are driving in a car, right? And I'm driving and you're in the passenger seat. And someone starts shooting at us. And right before you get killed, you're screaming out, JJ's shooting at us. It's JJ. He got a gun. He's shooting at us. See, because that's an excited utterance, you don't have time to think to make up an excuse. You're about to die anyway, whatever, So you blurt this thing out, an excited utterance. I'm allowed to testify to that. That's an exception to the hearsay exclusion. Okay? So I can go on a witness and say, I was driving and my buddy went, we were getting shot. He was so excited. He blurted this out. When you blurt something out, you understand? The excited utterance. Something dramatic is going on. Something that has your juices blowing and you start blurting things out. I had sent my tape to Mr. Rick Lovett. And he didn't know I was going to call him. But he was listening to the tape. He was listening to the interview with John S. Captain. And he was listening to the next segment, too. So you guys haven't heard the next segment where it gets a little tense between me and John, where some other things come out about his story. Some pretty basic things. She wasn't shot at a bar. She was shot in front of. She was picked up in front of a strip club. There's a lot of factors in this case here that haven't been discussed. In all these 20-some interviews that have been done this week, I didn't go looking for Mr. Captain. He came to me. I went and I listened to some of these other interviews he's done, and I says, this makes no sense. I don't understand what the story, who is this guy, what's their relationship, what's the connection, what's the story, what. All I'm hearing is, it was tap, 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 and then she turns into a baby. And I hear this over and over in every story. I go, I listen to these tapes, I hear nothing. But, so he contacted me through a referral of a guy who used to be a big fan of the show. He says he doesn't listen to the show anymore, but he says this guy over to me. He swears he stopped listening to the show. But he's booking guests for me. And so I says, okay, listen. Because I tried to listen to one of these shows, I couldn't get through 20 minutes. I got a headache. It's all over the place. I have no idea what they're even talking about. So I says, look, I'll take your statement. We'll do an interview on a Saturday afternoon. And I'll get your story out there for you. It'll make sense to the audience, I promise you. That's if I was, a lot of times I'll do these kind of things. I'll take a statement from somebody. I don't put it on the air. Okay? But at least we got it on record. And in this case, I had a feeling he's done enough interviews. I figured it would wind up on the air one way or the other. So we did this 2-hour interview. Did another 1-hour interview where I let him. I says, okay, lay out your case, man. Let's hear your mind control theory. And you can hear that. It's in the member section now. Or you can wait next week. You hear it next week. Then I said, okay, let me contact some of these people. You mentioned a lot of names on here. Let me try and contact some of these people. I get a hold of Rick Lovett. I interviewed him for 1 hour. And let me tell you something, guys. I'm the only one that's interviewed him. And a lot of these things that sound unusual or sound implausible suddenly now make common sense when Mr. Lovett lays it out. Now, what I brought up about the spontaneous utterances, Mr. Lovett did not know I was calling him when he was listening to the show. And he blurted out a bunch of spontaneous, off the top of his head remarks and comments. And they all had the ring of truth. Okay, so that's where I am right now in this story. Listen for yourself. You can listen next week to the 1 hour segment about the mind control, and you can buy it in the member section right now. It's only like $2. You go to OppermanReport.com. It'll lay out $2, and you can listen to it or you become a member, and you can listen to many shows, and you could also listen to Mr. Lovett's section. Tell me what you think. I know what I think. Okay. Title of the show. Let me get rid of this. I'm going to put that aside. I had so many notes tonight. I could do like 10 shows. Hey. It's been a wild and crazy week. By the way, you might have noticed that today the judge approved the settlement in the Trump University lawsuit where President Mr. Trump scammed all those people at that phony university and scammed them out of as much as $30,000. One guy was 70 years old and got scammed out of $35,000. And there were 3 lawsuits. And now all the students are going to be getting back 95% of the money they put up. The rest goes to the lawyers. So pretty much he was forced to stop the Trump University scam. And then we hear this thing about Mike Flynn. That Mike Flynn, with all this stuff with the Russians and the and the stuff with he's being wiretapped, and then he brings this guy Munsis over to the White House and he feeds him some information. He puts what is going on? It's just unbelievable. So Mike Flynn announces, he has his lawyer put forth this announcement saying, my client has quite a story to tell. By the way, this client was an unregistered agent for a foreign country, for Turkey, while working in the National Security Department there. This is unbelievable. Now, not that this hasn't been going on before, but that it's coming out like this. In 2 months of President Mr. Trump becoming president, Mr. Trump. This is unbelievable what's going on. But so Flynn's attorney comes out and he says, well, we want immunity. Give us immunity. And he has quite a story to tell. By the way, his lawyer is a Never Trump lawyer, He was one of those guys, a part of the Never Trump movement. So that's some kind of signal going on there. But it could be that this whole Flynn thing could just be a distraction just to take this other stuff off the news because there's just so much chaos and craziness going on. Now, by the way, I had mentioned last week or the week before, and I said, you know what, I do not think that Trump is going to finish his term. I predicted on Facebook that he was going to wind up in prison before he dies. I'm sure of that. There's just too much stuff there. But I made the comment. I said, well, Trump, he's just not up for this. This is way over his head. He's too lazy. He's been a con man. And I says, because all the crimes he's doing, Podesta's done these same crimes, but somehow he's able to pull it off. So people hear that. And I said, you say it's okay for Podesta to do it, but not Trump. People, it's a damn shame that I can talk on here. I think very clearly. And this certain percentage of people just have no clue what's being said. And these people, they say that, well, Ed, you become a political pundit, and you're giving your opinions about this kind of stuff. And that, I have my own opinion. I think Trump is going to be doing a good job. And Ed, you think Trump can't do it. Okay, well, I'm reporting to you, okay, that you think because I'm reporting facts about Trump having to give a 95% refund to his students and having to shut down his scam university, that when I report that, you think that's my opinion and that I'm bashing Trump and that it's not factual reporting. That is factual reporting. When I give you factual reporting that Mike Flynn today, as his lawyer came out with a statement saying we have quite a story to tell and all this, we want immunity, that is factual reporting. Okay? And because you support Trump politically, you don't want to hear the facts, okay? And you don't want to learn this information because the information and the facts conflict with your beliefs. So then, I must be a Democrat. Well, Ed Opperman, if he's telling me these things that I don't want to hear, he's a libtard and a Democrat, and he wants Hillary and Obama. And I'll tell you a million times, no, I'm not a Democrat. I'm not a liberal, okay? I don't like Hillary. By the way, you know what I realized today? I'm caught up in this Russian thing. Okay? I do not support Hillary. I did many, many, many shows, exclusive content that exposed Hillary. And I'm going to give you an example right now. Wake up, you bunch of... Sally Miller. Sally Miller was Bill Clinton's girlfriend. She was part of Pizzagate. And then she went and did her own life for 20 years. By an odd twist of fate, Sally Miller likes to frequent a library. And a listener, who's a very nice woman, works in that library. And she says to him, Sally, you should go on Ed Opperman's show. He's a very nice man. He's a Christian, and he'll listen, and he's very easy to talk to, and you should go on there and tell your story. She hadn't done an interview in years. 15 years, something crazy. The longest interview she ever did was with me. And I have Sally Miller on the show. First time she's done an interview in years. And she said on my show that Hillary Clinton had 2 abortions. Never reported before. It gets repeated on a big fat slob Rush Limbaugh show. He doesn't give me credit for that, but he repeats it. Gets picked up by the Daily Mail, the UK Mail. And a Russian TV show comes to the U.S., to her home, and tapes with her. So now she's back in action. I even tried to help her get her book published. There was some odd shenanigans that went on with that, too. Now that I look back at it, and, I'm going to have to take a look at that with a different eye. Because I did not understand why I was hitting roadblocks and dead. She got the book published. It's called Let No Deed Go Unpublished. Could be Let No Good Deed, something like that. And look up Sally Miller. Okay, sorry, Sally. I'll put a link in the YouTube, I promise. But when I was trying to help her get a book published, I was hitting these roadblocks and dead ends, and I couldn't understand why. But now looking back, now thinking with this whole Russian infiltration thing, so I'm caught up in this whole Russian thing. I'm not coming here for like a yokel. Just my opinion, because that I don't like Trump, so I'm going to lie about him. I'm going to make stuff up. And I'm not a liberal, and I'm not a Democrat. I am a socialist. Okay? I believe in socialism, which is to the left of the Democratic Party. Okay? And one idiot, he goes, oh, Ed, no, now Ed's denying he's a Democrat when he's already admitted that he leans to the left. Lean to the left? I'm to the left of Hugo Chavez, you freaking moron. Okay? Now, the problem is that socialism is not taught in schools in America. They don't explain it to what it is. And people think it's like the mystery schools. It's like a hidden teaching. Okay, people that listen to the show, you're into that kind of stuff. You listen to, what's that guy, Jordan Maxwell. Ooh, it's a hidden mystery. Socialism, you should look into it because it's like a hidden mystery that they don't want you to know. It's a hidden teaching. It's a secret. They don't want you to know. We should put it on, what's it, ancient histories, what's that thing called? The History Channel with the Ancient Aliens channel. The secret teachings of socialism. Well, everyone who listens to this show, well, not everyone. I'm getting upset. So many people, when they hear about social, they think it's something about that workers have to share their money with non-workers, and that taking from the rich and giving to people that don't work, that it's some kind of like free money for people not to work, when it's the exact opposite. It's the capitalists who think that people should get paid for not working, because what the capitalists think is, they think that if a fat kid like Mr. Trump inherits money from his father, that he doesn't have to work, that he can instead put that money, that capital, to work for him in his stead. Whereas under socialism, every company, every factory would be owned by the workers. And that excess money that goes to the stockholders and to the investors wouldn't exist because it would be owned by the workers. And not shared equally. It would be shared in proportion. The managers would make more money than the laborers, and the smart people would make more money than the grunt workers, the inexperienced workers. That all continues. But the thing is, the money doesn't escape to these fat slobs sitting on our butts, not doing any work. The money stays amongst the workers. Then they can reduce the prices. And now the workers who work hard have cheaper prices when they're purchasing things. Anyway. I better take a break before I have a heart attack. Let's see, how many? Oh, my God, look at these notes. I'm going to be going on forever. I got stuff in here about a case I had in Hawaii. I tell you, man, I was on a lurch here with these notes, man. Okay, let's take a little break here real quick. God almighty, get me out of here. Come on, pull this over. There you go. Back after these messages. And now a word from our sponsors. Did you know that 30% of all people on online dating websites and personal ads are either married or in a monogamous relationship? 30%. If you suspect that your husband, your wife, your boyfriend, your girlfriend may be cheating online, go to emailrevealer.com. Our online infidelity investigation. You give us their email address, and we can trace it back to online personal ads, dating sites, and social networks. We can even expand the investigation and find them cheating on escort service sites or even porn sites if they're registered to porn sites and swinger sites. So check out emailrevealer.com if you suspect your spouse is cheating, and check out our online infidelity investigation. William Ramsey is a producer here at the Opperman Report, and he's just come out with a new book, Children of the Beast, Aleister Crowley's Shadow Over Humanity. Now, he just sent me a copy of this book. Oh, boy, it's about 2 inches thick, and there's a chapter on just about everybody in this book that you can imagine. The Beatles, and Jack Parsons, everybody's in here. It's incredible. And I definitely recommend this book. There's a bunch of pictures in here, too, of all these people and different chapters and information. Anselm LaVey and people I've never heard of, too. There's a whole bunch in here. JFC Fuller. I don't know who he is. But it's great stuff by our producer here, William Ramsey. So check out Children of the Beast, Aleister Crowley's Shadow Over Humanity. You can find it on Amazon.com, or you could find it in the OppermanReport.com bookstore. We have an urgent bulletin. It seems that the group Strawman is still on the loose. It has been confirmed that Strawman are Canadian, okay, and that authorities are asking people to stay indoors, lock your doors and windows until this group can be dealt with. You could find more information about this group of Canadians, at strawmanmusic.com. You can have your ad played here. Okay, we're looking for sponsors. Okay, in fact, we desperately need sponsors right now to take this show to the next level. So you can have your your ad played here, read live, like I'm doing now, so artfully. Or we can even work up a little jingle for you with some music and stuff like that and play it here. You have no idea how inexpensive it would be to have your ad played on the Opperman Report on 7 stations. Live Friday night, and another 7 stations live on Saturday night, plus replayed every day of the week on different stations, and then archived on YouTube, Spreaker, iHeartRadio, iTunes, and all different kinds of podcasts, Pod This and Podbean, all different kinds of places who archive the show for us. And on those archives, your ad would play indefinitely, forever. You also get a little banner on OppermanReport.com. You get a mention on the air. You get a little interview on the air, and all kinds of fun stuff if you sponsor Opperman Report. We have an opportunity to get this show on a major AM/FM station in California. We've been approved. So if you want to sponsor us into that, so incredibly inexpensive that your ad would be heard by a the range covers 5 million people in population where your ad would be broadcast, and all these other stations would be thrown in for free. So really affordable prices to sponsor OppermanReport.com. Get a copy of my book, How to Become a Successful Private Investigator. You can get a copy of that book at emailrevealer.com, or you can get a copy of that book now. It's back up on Amazon.com. How to Become a Successful Private Investigator by Ed Opperman. And this book has been updated a little bit from the previous book that we had that was available to our wonderful listeners.